Let's turn to this now. President Cyril Ramaphosa has signed the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Amendment Bill into law. It affirms the institutional and operational independence of the watchdog and empowers it to investigate any deaths caused by police or metro officers, whether on duty or not. Action Society's Juanita joins me now for more on that. Juanita, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening. Thank you.
It's firstly known that the amendment would have had to deal with a spat that we would have seen previously between the Minister of Police and the Executive Director at IPID, and whether or not the Minister has rights to fire the Executive Director or at least bring disciplinary and play an oversight role. What does this bill now say with the amendments in place?
Yes, that was actually one of the things that we, when the act was still just a bill, we did a submission, and one of the things that we commented on was that we wanted the IPID bill to give the powers of or to reduce the powers of the Minister of Police to really make IPID an independent watchdog body over the police, and that would also entail that the executive director would not be would not report to the Minister of Police, because that would not make it independent. So our main argument was that IPID should be a Chapter 9 institution where that would come into play, but that didn't happen. But we wanted more parliamentary oversight, and that has been included in the act. So yes, our contention was that we wanted the executive director to be truly independent from the Minister of Police, because if you have to report to the Minister of Police on things pertaining to the Minister of Police under his watch, how could you be independent?
So, has that now been brought in legally, as to say, so far as allowing the Minister of Police, for example, to suspend, discipline, and remove the Executive Director? Are you saying with this particular bill that is now being made constitutional in a way and allows for that to happen?
Well, it's only been gazetted yesterday, so it is not. It has not been signed into being a law as yet. So it's only been gazetted. So the president still have to sign it. But as far as I understand, that it is not a Chapter 9 institution. That was not part of the act, and that was what we were actually fighting for it to be truly independent.
So I mean, essentially, exactly. What would constitute adequate independence? For example, what is the Directorate now allowed to investigate? What can they investigate?
I think they can still investigate what it set out to investigate. It was when somebody died in a police setting, or if there was any type of misconduct, or yes, if in the broad sense, if there was any type of misconduct in the police conducting their duties, that is the oversight role of IPID. But the problem we had was with where does the independence lie? If that answers your question. Yeah. So in broad, anything that falls under the police that should be investigated is what IPID should investigate.
Does this amendment then guarantee a strong degree of institutional and functional independence? Because the other issue that would have also come into debate is where the budget of IPID comes from, and by and large it would have had to come from the Department of Police, and the argument is whether or not that guarantees a degree of institutional independence.
Yes, exactly. If you you play towards the person who pays you, right?
Yeah.
So we feel that there is still too much. There is more of a parliamentary oversight in this act as it is gazetted, but there is still too much room for political misuse, because as far as I understand, what is gazetted is that the director will still not be completely independent. They will still have to be or report to the Minister of Police and be paid by the Minister of Police. They fall under the Minister of Police or that whole department. So it is not completely independent, because, as I said in the beginning, you can lose your job if you don't say the right thing about your boss, right?
Right.
And then when we speak about the who is paying for it, we are just in court now with the blue light mafia case, which is also very controversial. So IPID is prosecuting the police, but they are also paying the salaries of the people, and as far as we understand, because we have not had any answer on our prior application on who is paying for the court appearances, and it must amount to a big amount at this time. So you see the balance. You can say this police person did not act appropriately.
Yeah.
And then IPID will prosecute them, or not IPID, but IPID will be the one prosecuting. And then, but they will still be paying, the police department will still be paying it for it. So that's a whole problem with it not being completely and truly independent. If you pay for it on this side, but the opposite on the other side, then how can it be truly independent?
So where does then Parliament come in here? Because there was this sense that all this amendment will do was maybe merely slightly shift powers away from the minister, especially when it comes to oversight, and put that responsibility of suspension, of disciplinary, of removal at the hands of Parliament.
So Parliament will now have more say, but they won't have a final say. It will still come through the minister and be tabled by the minister. And the minister will not have the final say, but he will have it is subjective to what the minister tables. So again, not independent, even though the Parliament and the parliamentary members will have input on that. The final say will still, the final tabling and the final say will not lie with them.
Yeah. Juanita, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. She is the spokesperson for Action Society on the IPID Amendment Bill.